My ex-wife cheated on me with my own brother, the golden child, and ended up having his baby. Now that I've climbed the ladder and got promoted, the same family that always treated me like a ghost is suddenly begging me for money. I'm a 28-year-old guy, and it's been 3 months since I finalized my divorce from my 26-year-old ex-wife. Turns out, she'd been sneaking around with my brother, who I've been estranged from for quite a while. I didn't find out until about 3 months ago, when she sat me down and said she was pregnant. At first, she swore the baby was mine, but my brother was popping by our place so often that I couldn't help but get suspicious. So, I did what anyone would. I checked her phone. When I confronted her about the messages I saw, she came clean. She admitted she'd been cheating with my brother for a while, and honestly, at that point, lying wasn't an option anymore. I hadn't spoken to my family since I moved out at 19. Growing up, they always made me feel like I didn't belong, while my brother could do no wrong. One time, they even threw a party that was supposed to be for me, but kicked it off without me. What really set me off, though, was the cake. That's when I just lost it. I finally called them out and asked why they'd never celebrated any of my actual accomplishments. Their answer? They said when I got accepted to college, they skipped celebrating me because they didn't want my brother to feel left out. And instead of recognizing how unfair that was, they told me I should be focusing on lifting my brother up. That moment broke something inside me, and right then and there, I promised myself I'd never go back to them again. And I didn't. I paid my own way through college, took out loans, worked jobs, the whole 9 yards. After graduation, I split rent on a tiny apartment with a buddy. I never reached out to my parents, and they never tried to reach me either. Time passed. Then last year, my brother popped up online, wanting to reconnect. Said our parents miss me. A lot had gone down since I left home, like marrying my ex-wife 3 years ago. My life was comfortable, but I guess I'd never fully gotten over how my family had treated me. So, I agreed to meet them. The reunion was awkward as hell at first. Still, they seemed like they were trying to make amends, and I figured I owed it to myself to try too. So I invited them over to my place. That, I now realize, was mistake number 1, introducing my brother to my wife. They hit it off way too well. Before I knew it, they were having an affair, and she got pregnant. When she told me the news, I was over the moon. I really believed I was going to be a dad. But then my brother started dropping by more often. At first, I didn't think much of it. But it got real weird when he'd put his hand on her belly and start talking to the baby. She brushed it off, told me not to make a big deal out of it, but something felt off. 5 months into the pregnancy, I waited until she fell asleep and looked through her phone. That confirmed all my worst fears. The text between her and my brother made it clear the baby was his. They'd been together for a while, and she never planned to tell me the truth. Their plan was to wait until the baby was born, drop the affair bomb on me, then she'd divorce me and go be with my brother, all while living off my child support payments. Next morning, I asked her about the messages. She tried to deny it at first, but then just gave up and admitted everything. That was the end of our 3-year marriage. And of course, my parents? They stood behind my brother and my ex the whole way. All their talk about loving us both equally turned out to be just that, talk. When my ex and brother posted about the divorce and their new relationship online, my family cheered them on. No one gave a damn about what it did to me. My mental health, my trust shattered. Worse yet, my ex lied to me for 5 straight months, making me believe I was going to be a dad. It felt like I lost both my wife and the child I thought was mine. It hurt like hell. When I told my parents how messed up it all was, they brushed it off. Said it was for the best. Acted like my brother hadn't done anything wrong. They actually told me I should be happy that the two of them found love, and that I should come celebrate with them. That was the last straw. I cut them off again, but that move cost me big in the divorce. My ex walked away with a fat settlement and my car, all because my family backed her up. Her lawyer spun a story that I was controlling and toxic, said I made her quit her job, when it was her idea the whole time. And my family backed up every lie. Said they'd stopped talking to me in the first place because I had anger issues and hated women. That stacked the deck against me. I lost a ton of money in the divorce, but thank God, I kept the house. Once the divorce was finalized, all I could feel was relief. At least now, I didn't have to deal with any of them ever again. Where I live, there's no waiting period for divorce, and my ex didn't contest anything, so I wrapped it up quick and tried to move on. It was tough to forget, but I buried myself in work. I pushed hard to get past the mess as fast as I could, and it worked. 3 weeks ago, I got promoted. Better title, better pay, even a nicer company car, the full package. I was stoked, so I treated myself to a solo dinner at one of my favorite spots. Then I made the mistake of posting about it online. Not even an hour later, my mom messaged me, asking if I'd stop by to visit. I couldn't believe it. We hadn't said a word since the divorce, and they'd stood by my ex through all of it. I ignored her for a few days, but then she started blowing up my phone. Eventually, she showed up at my office and caused a scene with the receptionist. To get her to leave, I told her I'd come by in a few days. A couple days later, I did. Turns out, they'd moved into a bigger place, thanks to the money from the settlement, probably some of the alimony too. Their new house had space for the new baby, who had been born just over 4 weeks earlier. Honestly, the alimony didn't hit me too hard. It was such a small chunk of my salary now, I barely noticed it. My brother wasn't home, and my ex was asleep, so it was just my parents talking to me. I didn't bother with chit-chat. Just waited for them to get to the point. After a few minutes of awkward silence, my dad finally said it. My brother had lost his job. The settlement and alimony weren't enough to keep them afloat anymore. They'd seen my promotion post and were hoping I'd help them out, since they were running out of money. My parents had been retired for years, my brother was unemployed, and my ex wasn't planning to go back to work anytime soon. Supporting 5 people, including a newborn, wasn't cheap, and I knew that. But after everything they'd done to me, I couldn't believe they even had the nerve to ask. I was so stunned I just stood there in silence for a few minutes, completely speechless. But eventually, I snapped out of it and realized I didn't owe anyone anything, not anymore. So I stood up and walked straight out the door without saying a single word. Just as I opened the door, I saw my brother standing there. My parents started calling after me, begging me to stay and talk. My brother looked surprised to see me. I ignored them all and just kept walking. It was pouring outside, and my car was parked a little ways down the lawn, so I ended up soaked to the bone. I was already in a terrible mood. Now, maybe this is the part where I acted like a bit of a jerk, but I honestly don't care. My parents and brother followed me out into the rain. While I was fumbling around in my pocket for my keys, they tried one more time to ask for help. This time, it was my brother who spoke up. He's always carried himself like he's better than everyone else, thanks to the way our parents spoiled him. So it was honestly strange seeing him swallow his pride and ask me for anything. He must have really been desperate, which made me believe they weren't lying about how bad things were. Still, I snapped. I told them to leave me the hell alone. I said if they were so broke, they should try begging in the street. Some random stranger would probably care more than I did. Then I got in my car and drove off, leaving them standing there in the rain. I'm not gonna lie, it felt good. After everything they'd done to me, finally getting to walk away like that felt like justice. It's been 3 days since that happened, and now I'm second-guessing myself. My mom's been blowing up my phone with messages, and I can't shake the guilt. I know I've got more than enough money, and giving them a little wouldn't actually hurt me. But after everything they did, I can't help but feel like they're just trying to use me. So, does that make me the asshole for not helping my family out financially after they backed my ex during the divorce? Update 1. I ended up deciding not to help them. It wasn't an easy choice. I felt terrible thinking about just walking away like that. But then it hit me. They've been walking away from me my whole life. They didn't think twice when they betrayed me during the divorce, so why should I? I told my mom to quit messaging me or I'd have my lawyers step in. That obviously didn't sit well with them. A few days later, my brother showed up at my house to talk. He started off by saying he was sorry for how I'd been treated growing up. But then he threw in some garbage about how he just was naturally better than me, and that's why our parents favored him. He even tried to defend them, told me I was being weird for holding a grudge, and that I should just help them out like any decent son would. I actually laughed in his face. He sounded absolutely insane. I told him if he really cared, he should stop trying to guilt-trip me and maybe get off his ass and find a job instead of wasting my time. That must have hit a nerve, because he started yelling. He accused me of being jealous, said I was mad that our parents and even my ex-wife chose him over me. Said I was using money to get revenge. I didn't argue. I just told him he was right. I said this was payback, plain and simple, and there wasn't a damn thing he could do about it. That really set him off. He shouted that he was going to come after me and force me to hand over the money. Said I'd regret ever speaking to him like that. I'm not worried. He can huff and puff all he wants. He's got no power over me. I'm completely unbothered. Update 2. 3 days ago, my brother came back again to try and change my mind. Didn't work. My parents had already failed at that, so now it was my ex-wife's turn. She called me out of nowhere. I didn't want to pick up, but I figured if I didn't, she might show up in person, and I didn't have time for that nonsense. So I answered. At first, she was all sweet and polite. Said she knew she had no right to ask anything from me after what she'd done. But still, she wanted me to be the bigger person and help out the family. She tried tugging at my heartstrings. Said my parents paid for everything when I was a kid. Said she tried her best to be a good wife. Which is hilarious. My parents ignored me and worshipped my brother, and she literally cheated on me with him. Yeah, real loving people. So I told her flat out that I wasn't helping. I said I already pay her alimony, which she doesn't even deserve, and I'm not giving them another dime. She only got that money because my family lied for her during the divorce and made me look like the bad guy. She started crying on the phone, calling me selfish and heartless. That's rich, coming from her. When I still didn't give in, she said my brother was right. Said I left her no choice but to take me to court again, this time to demand a bigger alimony. Said she'd humiliate me all over again. Honestly, I'd love to see them try. Back then, I was emotionally drained and couldn't fight back. I didn't challenge anything. I just signed the papers and agreed to pay because I wanted it over with. I never did any of the stuff they accused me of. I wasn't toxic. I wasn't controlling. She had no reason to cheat, and she sure as hell didn't deserve a penny. But I didn't care at the time. I just wanted peace. Now I'm ready to fight back and teach these people a lesson they'll never forget. Update 3. In a surprising twist, my ex actually followed through this time. She filed for more alimony, said I could afford it since I'd gotten promoted. But I wasn't going to roll over again. I reached out to all our mutual friends and finally told them the truth. Most of them only knew we'd split. They didn't know why. They were shocked. When I explained everything and said I might need them to testify, they agreed without hesitation. I also told my lawyer I wanted to put an end to this whole alimony mess. She doesn't deserve a dime. I've been digging up every shred of proof I can find, text messages, emails, even old social media posts. Everything that shows how my parents and brother treated me like garbage. Now that they know I'm doing well, they're trying to leech off me. I've had enough. These people are parasites, and I'm done feeling sorry for them. This time, I'm not going to stop until I wipe them out of my life completely, no matter how much it hurts them. And I followed through, just like I said I would. When I showed the judge those video testimonials, ones from my friends and even a few extended relatives, my family couldn't say a damn thing to defend themselves. Those clips made it crystal clear that everything my family had said about me was a lie, and that I was never the kind of man they painted me to be. I think they assumed they could weasel their way out of it like last time, but they clearly didn't realize I wasn't that broken, naive guy anymore. Everything they put me through had only made me stronger. Yesterday, it finally became official. My ex-wife no longer gets a cent in alimony. The moment that news hit me, I swear, I felt like the happiest man alive. It was beyond satisfying to watch the smug look vanish right off my family's faces. And my ex? She looked like she was about to break down into tears right there. Honestly, I couldn't have cared less. I was done, mentally, emotionally, everything. I figured I'd head home, order some good takeout, and enjoy a quiet night with a movie. But of course, my family just couldn't let me have one moment of peace. I was just a few yards away from my house when I noticed my brother's car parked right out front. I had no idea why he was there. It didn't make any sense. When I walked up, there they were, my whole family, standing at my front door, blocking my way in. I was caught off guard, but I kept my cool. Told them straight up, get off my property, or I'm calling the cops. That's when my dad decided to pipe up. He said I should be ashamed of myself for what I'd done that day. Said I was turning my back on my family during their toughest time. After he was done preaching, I didn't say a word. I just stood there, silent. I wasn't about to give them the satisfaction of seeing me lose my temper. That's what they wanted, for me to get riled up and say something dumb. But I wasn't falling for that. They should have known by now that I wasn't going to crack. My silence clearly ticked them off, especially my mom. She demanded that I show some respect and talk to my dad, but I just kept my mouth shut. I could see how frustrated they were. They were expecting some big screaming match, and instead, they got nothing. Eventually, my brother lost it. He grabbed me by the collar and tried to swing at me, but my dad managed to pull him back just in time. As my brother flailed, he screamed that I was just a bitter, jealous loser who'd never amount to anything. Coming from an unemployed guy living in his parents' house, begging his little brother for cash? That was rich. I told them they had 5 minutes to get off my property before I really called the cops, and given how broke they were, they probably didn't want to risk it. They left, reluctantly. But not before my mom gave one last pathetic attempt to guilt me into handing over some money. Didn't work, obviously. It's been almost a full day since then. No calls, no visits. And honestly, I hope it stays that way. Now, onto a whole new disaster. Story 2. Found out my wife was cheating on me with my stepdaughter's father. Filed for divorce immediately. I'm 31. My wife, also 31, cheated on me back in December. I knew something was up, and when I went to the guy's house to confront it, I caught them red-handed. Yep, the guy she was sleeping with? My stepdaughter's father. I'd been keeping this guy off our property for years, always trying to manage his temper, trying to keep things civil for the kids' sake. Meanwhile, I was the one running the house, cleaning, feeding the pets, taking care of the yard, and looking after her 5-year-old daughter like she was my own. When we got married, she made me give up my old beater car so I could use one of hers instead. I even picked up some part-time work at the law firm where she worked. Most days, I was up at 8 a.m. and didn't crash until 3 a.m. I was burning myself out doing everything. Still, I tried to forgive her. But I kept catching her talking to him. Worse, she started planning hookups with other guys too, all while telling me she still wanted us to work things out. She messed with my head and my body, manipulated me emotionally and sexually. She told me it was my fault she cheated, said I should have done more to stop it. Then she'd pressure me into having sex, even when I wasn't ready, using guilt and threats to get her way. She ended up pregnant after I caught her with him, so I asked for a DNA test. Instead, she rushed out and got an abortion and blamed me for that too. Last month, I walked away from it all, quit my job, moved out. If it weren't for my family stepping in to help, I'd be on the street right now. I can barely function. Getting out of bed is a struggle. Feeding myself feels like climbing a mountain. We weren't even married for a full year. I lost my job, my car, my home, my stepdaughter, half of my family, and all of hers. I'm broke, I'm heartbroken, and I'm barely hanging on. If it weren't for my family, I'd be homeless. My mental health is wrecked. Turns out, she was cheating back when we were just dating too. The whole relationship? A lie. A game. She got everything, and I'm the one left to pick up the broken pieces. I was cheated on and abused, and yet I'm the one who got punished. My lawyer, who's a longtime family friend, says there's not much I can do legally. And now I'm stuck wondering, what the hell am I supposed to do with all this pain? How do I rebuild? I know I need to take small steps, get a new job, get out of the house. But even that feels impossible some days. I've got severe depression and anxiety. Being in public makes me panic. Even hanging out with friends drains me so much that I end up crying the whole way home. I feel broken. And nothing's getting better. Update 1. My ex is bringing the affair partner to our divorce hearing. Yeah, you read that right. One of my friends tipped me off. Said she wants to make a statement by showing up with the guy. Some friends have offered to come and support me. Others think I should just keep my head down and ignore it. Honestly, I don't even know what I should do. Update 2. Today was the divorce hearing. If you've read my other posts, you know what I've been through. My ex-wife cheated on me just days after Christmas, right in our own bed. I tried reconciliation, but she kept sneaking around with the same guy. Even made plans to meet other men in different cities, sexting them behind my back, all while pretending she was cutting ties. Every single time, it was the same excuse, the same lies. Eventually, I told her I was done, that I was filing for divorce. Her response? She told me if I left, she'd kill me. Well, here I am, alive. And she's officially out of my life for good. After the hearing, I hit the gym and crushed some new personal records. I feel better than I have in months. She doesn't know where I live. She doesn't know where I work. She's completely out of the picture. And this woman, who I once loved so deeply and would have done anything for, took everything from me. But she didn't take me. I'm still standing. I lost everything. My job, my car, my house, my stepdaughter, my marriage, my mental health, and maybe even a baby. I'm pretty sure the kid wasn't mine. It had to be the affair partner's. But when I asked for a DNA test, she aborted it. Just like that. This past year has been absolute hell, one thing after another with no end in sight. And through it all, she kept blaming me. Blaming me for walking away. Blaming me for breaking up the family. This morning, by the time she even showed up to court, I was already there, sitting beside my lawyer. All we had to do was show up and get the paperwork signed by the judge. I didn't look at her. Not once. Even when she tried to hand me some mail from the house, I just grabbed it and kept walking. I did notice something odd, though. Her new guy didn't come with her. She'd been telling our mutual friends that he'd be there. but he never showed. That felt off. The rest of the hearing went fine. Inside, I was a mess, nervous, emotional, but on the outside, I kept a calm smile and tried to stay positive. She looked like she was about to cry, but I still didn't look at her. I wouldn't give her that moment. It wasn't until I got home that I found a note mixed in with the mail. Turns out, the reason AP didn't show was because he got another woman pregnant. I tore the note up and tossed it in the trash. She had a loving husband who gave everything he had, and she threw it all away for a deadbeat. A guy who cheated on her too, and hit her when they were together. He doesn't even like being a dad. When he has his daughter, he dumps her at his mom's house. That poor little girl used to call me Dad and call him by his first name because she barely even knew him. His own mom once cried on Christmas while we shared a drink. Said she was just grateful her granddaughter had me in her life. Now there's a new baby on the way, and it's only going to make his mess worse. I just hope whoever's having this kid with him gets out fast for the baby's sake. Even though I'm usually full of energy, today I feel hollow. I keep swinging between feeling proud and completely numb. Sorry if this all sounds scattered. I'm just in a strange headspace. I thought I'd feel better once it was all said and done. But honestly, I just wish none of us had to suffer at all. Thanks for sticking around and listening to my story.